The sun was burning above the broken world of Kirith. No clouds, no breeze, just dust and silence. Except in the market, vendors shouted, crowds moved slow, and guards stood with long blades. Water was sold in tiny cups. Most people couldn't even afford that. From between the crowd, a thin figure moved, quiet, careful, desperate. Her skin was pale violet, cracked from heat. Her eyes were wide with fear. She was just a girl alien, small, barefoot, and thirsty. She crept near a vendor's stall, where a metal bowl held water for display. The bowl shimmered under the sun, drops sliding down its rim like jewels. No one saw her, at least. She thought they didn't. She dipped her hand fast, scooped a handful, and drank before the first scream came. Thief. 2 guards grabbed her. The girl cried out as she was dragged into the center of the market. Her arms were tied. She kicked and begged, but no one cared. A merchant shouted. She stole from the water basin. Cut her hand, make her an example. People gathered watching. Whispering, one guard pulled out a long blade shining in the heat. He grabbed her wrist and held it tight on the stone. The girl screamed, "Please! I was just thirsty!" The blade rose. That's when a deep voice cut through the noise. "Touch her, and you answer to me?" Everyone turned. A human stood at the edge of the circle, tall, strong, covered in dust. Worn jacket, heavy boots, stubble on his face. His eyes were combut deadly. The guard frowned. "You speak for this thief?" The man stepped closer. "Not a thief. She's a child. She stole water," the merchant barked. "That's the law." "Then your law is broken." The guard didn't move his blade. The human moved forward slowly, his voice low now. "Put the weapon down." "No," the guard sneered. "She's not your kind, human. Go back to your ship." The girl looked up at the man. Her lips were cracked, her eyes full of dust. "Why did you stop them?" she whispered. The man didn't answer, just stared at the guard. The tension grew. The blade still hovered. The crowd held its breath. "Step back," the guard warned. "Last chance." The man didn't flinch. Then something in the guard's face changed. He saw something dangerous in the human's eyes. Not fear, not even anger, just stillness, like the man had faced worse. He lowered the blade. But instead of walking away, the guard shoved the girl to the ground. She landed hard, coughing in the dust. The man reached her in 2 steps, knelt, and lifted her gently. "You okay?" he asked. She nodded slowly, still afraid. Her hand shook as she clutched her small bag, a ragged thing with nothing inside. "What's your name?" he asked. She hesitated. "Rinya." "All right, Rinya, come with me." The merchant stepped forward. "She's still a criminal. You'll be punished for this." The human stood tall. "Then punish me." "But she comes with me." He turned, carrying the girl in his arms. The crowd parted. No one dared to stop him. Behind them, the merchant spat on the ground. "Fools protect fools." As they walked down the alley between crumbling stone walls, the girl looked at him again. "You don't even know me," she said. "I know what they were going to do. I didn't mean to steal. My throat hurt. I couldn't." He stopped walking and set her down in a shaded spot. From his coat, pulled a canteen. "Full here," he said. She stared at it like it was gold. "You're giving me this?" He nodded. She drank. Slowly, carefully, her eyes teared up. Not from pain, but from the taste of clean water. After a moment, she asked, "Why are you helping me? You could have just walked away." He didn't answer right away. Finally, he said, "Too many people already did." Suddenly, a shadow moved on the wall. A man stood watching them from the corner, his eyes narrow. A strange chip glowing in his hand. He whispered into a comlink, "She's been found, and she's with a human. Prepare to move." Back in the alley, the girl finished drinking. "I don't have anywhere to go," she said. The human stood up and looked at the sky. "Then we find somewhere together." He didn't see the red. Light flashing softly on the chip, and the danger it meant. Asterisk, the council hall was carved into the bones of an old starship wreck. long buried beneath the desert sands. Inside, shadows moved beneath yellow light, and the air smelled of rust and old fear. The human stood at the center, hands behind his back, calm as ever. Round him, voices echoed, alien tongues thick with disgust. "Why did you interfere?" One of the counselors asked, his skin scaled and dry. "You knew the punishment. You knew our law." "She was a child," the man replied simply. "She was a criminal," another barked. "And she is not yours to protect." He didn't flinch. "She wasn't anyone's." "That's the real problem, isn't it?" Behind him, the girl sat in a corner on the cold floor, hugging her knees. Her clothes were torn, her cheeks hollow, but her eyes were watching him wide and uncertain. "She's lucky to still have a hand," said the lead counselor. "Others have lost more for less." The human's voice dropped to something cold. "And you think that's justice?" The room fell silent. He turned his head slightly, speaking just loud enough. "Where I come from, we don't cut children for being thirsty. We help them, or we die trying." The council didn't reply, not at first. Then one leaned forward slowly. "So what is she to you then? A cause? A burden?" He looked at them. Without blinking, nothing. Not yet. One counselor hissed in frustration, "Then leave. Take her with you. But when this breaks our peace, when the ones chasing her burn this place down, we will name you as the reason." That made him pause. "Who's chasing her?" The counselors exchanged looks. "You don't know?" One said slowly, almost amused. "Then perhaps you are more foolish than brave." He turned and walked out without another word. The girl rose quickly to follow him, nearly stumbling over her own feet. You're not leaving me." "No," he said, not looking back. "You're with me now." They walked through the market in silence. People watched from behind stalls, some whispering, some pointing. Others turned their eyes away. Not wanting trouble, he led her past the outer edge of the settlement, where a small ship sat half hidden under tarp and rust. Not much, but it flew. He opened the door, helped her inside, and gave her a clean blanket. She sat in the corner quietly. "I can go, if this is too much trouble." He looked at her. "It's already trouble. Didn't mean for it to." I know." She pulled the blanket tighter. Then, after a moment, reached into the folds of her clothing. She opened her hand. A small stone glowed in her palm's soft, pulsing light. He leaned closer. "Where did you get that?" "I didn't." "Steal it," she said quickly. "It was in my mother's necklace. I kept it after they took her." His jaw tightened. "Who took her?" She didn't answer. He sighed, sat across from her, and looked at the stone. "That's not a necklace jewel," he muttered. "That's military-grade tech. Maybe ancient. Maybe coded." Her eyes flicked to him. "What does that mean?" "It means," he said slowly, "that people would kill to find it. Maybe to find you." Outside, unnoticed, 3 small dots glided through the air drones, silent, scanning inside. The ship's lights dimmed. He noticed. He got up and walked to the console. "That's strange," he muttered. "Proximity sensors are going off before." He could finish. A loud thump shook the ship. The girl screamed. He grabbed a pulse rifle from the wall. Red lights blared. "Stay down," he told her. The screen showed 3 ships landing nearby. Not council ships. Not traders. Bounty class. Fast. Armed. He looked at the girl. "Did you lead them here?" "No," she said, terrified. "I swear I didn't tell anyone." Another thud. Then voices shouting outside. "You have something that doesn't belong to you." A distorted voice rang out through the speakers. He looked back at her. "What don't they want you to have?" She held up the glowing stone again. "It's not just a memory chip. It's me. I'm the last one with the code. I didn't know. When I drank the water, something unlocked." He blinked. "Unlocked? What?" She shook her head.
I don't know.
"But I remember a place, a door, a vault under this planet." He tightened his grip on the rifle. "I don't care what they want," he growled. "You're staying alive. Come on." He pulled her behind him as the hull shook with another blast. The ship's outer defenses powered on, but it wouldn't hold forever. She whispered, "Why are you doing this?" He looked over his shoulder at her. "Because I don't let people like you die alone." And then the lights died right before the outer door exploded inward. Smoke curled through the narrow corridor of the ship as metal scraped metal. Sparks rained from the ceiling as the outer door buckled under a blast. The ship groaned, shielding itself with what little power it had left. Cole dropped into a crouch, rifle aimed at the doorway, eyes locked on the thick, burning smoke that crept in like a silent enemy. The girl re-impressed herself against the wall behind him, clutching the stone to her chest. Her fingers trembled. Her breath caught in her throat, but she didn't cry, not this time. Outside, heavy footsteps approached. The kind that meant body armor. Bounty hunters. Not local thugs professionals. "Come out, human," a voice barked through a cum-distorted mask. "We don't want you. Just the girl. Give her up and walk away." Cole's reply came in silence. His fingers slid along the rifle trigger. "Hey." Second blast shook the hull closer this time. Rinya gasped, but Cole didn't flinch. He kept his eyes on the breach and waited. Then a figure stepped through, armored in black, helmet shining red. Behind him, two more shadows followed. The lead bounty hunter raised a weapon, but Cole fired first. A single, sharp burst straight. To the chest, the man fell. Before the others could react, Cole moved like lightning. He grabbed Rinya's arm, pulled her down the narrow service corridor, and slammed his hand against a control pad. A hidden hatch opened. He dropped into the crawl space below. Darkness swallowed them. They crawled fast pipes groaning around. The ship shaking with each impact from above. Rinya's breath came in short bursts, but she followed. She had to. The human didn't stop moving. Finally, they reached the emergency exit on the far end of the ship, hidden beneath a supply crate. Cole pushed it open with his shoulder, and they stumbled out into the rocky dusk above. 3 bounty ships hovered like vultures, lights sweeping the ground. He pulled her behind a pile of scrap metal and held a finger to his lips. She nodded, but her hands were still shaking. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I didn't mean to bring them." He looked at her sharply. "You didn't bring them. You are what they want. I don't even know why. That stone, what you said earlier about memory, about a vault," kept his voice. "Lo, tell me everything." She hesitated, then she looked down at the stone. The soft pulse of light had changed. It was brighter now, faster. She held it closer, and something happened. A beam of pale light flickered out and projected a map of rough, ancient schematic of the surrounding area. Beneath the market, under the old council tower, a chamber. "There," she whispered, pointing. "That's where my mother said we'd be safe. That's where the others stored the memories, but they never made it back." Cole stared at the projection, then at her. "They were trying to hide you," he said slowly. "Not because of what you are, but because of what you could unlock." "My mother said I was the last," Rinya whispered. "They thought if I died, the code would die too." Suddenly a light swept over them. "Run," Cole growled, grabbing her hand. They bolted, weaving through shattered structures and broken ship husks. Behind them, engines roared, bounty hunters giving chase. Blaster fire rained down, scorching the ground beside them. Cole swerved, pulled Rinya behind a wall of collapsed metal. He fired back to quick bursts. One of the pursuers dropped. But there were too many then. As they neared the edge of the market, something strange happened. The stone pulsed violently. Rinya gasped and stumbled. Her body flickered with a soft blue shimmer, just for a second. Cole turned. "Rinya." She looked up, dazed. "I saw something. A memory. Not mine, someone else's. Soldiers, hundreds of them. Made of light. They were waiting for someone? Waiting where? In the vault?" He looked at her, breathing hard. "We need to get you there now." They ducked through a narrow tunnel behind the council tower path no one used anymore. Old and filled with dust. The map from the stone guided them, step by step. Every hallway brought more danger. Traps, collapsing doors, old defense systems that scanned for intruders. But every time Rinya's stone lit up, showing a new path, disarming a panel, unlocking a door. She wasn't just running anymore, she was leading. Finally, they reached a thick sealed gate. Covered in ancient alien script, glowing faintly in the dim tunnel light, Cole touched it, but nothing happened. Then Rinya stepped forward. Her hand reached out. The stone in her palm began to glow, pulsing in rhythm with her heartbeat. As it touched the gate, it shimmered, and then began to open with a deep, thunderous groan inside. The air was cool, silent, sacred. A long chamber stretched before them, walls lined with glowing panels, machines unlike anything Cole had ever seen. And at the far end, an empty throne-like seat. It was pulsing, waiting. Rinya stepped inside slowly, awe on her face. "What is this place?" Cole whispered. She turned back to him, voice low, eyes wide. "I think it's mine." Then behind them a footstep. They weren't alone. Asterisk, the vault. Doors slammed shut behind them with a thunderous clang. Locking out the world, but not the danger, Cole raised his rifle instantly, swinging around toward the sound. Footsteps echoed in the chamber, slow, deliberate. A shadow moved along the far wall, then another. Not one, but two. Rinya froze beside him, clutching the glowing stone to her chest. The pulsing light flickered, uncertain now. Her voice was barely a whisper. "How did they follow us in?" "The door wasn't fast enough," Cole muttered, eyes scanning the high arches and dark corners of the vault. "They must have slipped through just before it shut." The air grew heavier. Every breath echoed. The ancient vault seemed alive now, watching, waiting. The walls shimmered faintly, reacting to something in the room. "Tu are Iamya." And then, from the shadows, a voice emerged. Smooth, cold. "Well, well. The lost little key has returned." A man stepped out, tall and thin, with pale gray skin and cybernetic implants tracing veins across his face. His eyes gleamed with artificial gold. Behind him stood another bounty hunter, bulkier, masked, rifle raised. Rinya stepped back, her grip tightening on Cole's jacket. The gray-skinned man smiled. "Your blood opens doors, girl. Doors that should have stayed shut." Cole shifted his stance. "She's not going anywhere with you. You misunderstand human," the man said calmly. "She's not just a person. She's a system trigger. She's the last echo of a war species. Her DNA is the code that activates this place." Cole kept his gun steady. "Then she decides what gets activated, not you," fooled the man. Hissed, "She's a weapon. You don't ask a weapon what it wants, you use it." The moment the word weapon was spoken, something in Rinya's posture changed. Her fear turned to stillness. She stepped forward. "No," she said quietly. "You're wrong. I'm not your weapon," the man snarled. "You don't even know what you are." Rinya looked down at the stone. It was glowing brighter, now pulsing faster, as if responding to her defiance. She turned and walked toward the central platform, where the throne-like seat waited. Lines of blue light followed her footsteps. Cole moved with her, gun still raised. The enemy didn't shoot. Not yet. They were waiting, unsure of what she was about to do. When Rinya placed the stone into the slot on the throne, the room trembled. A rush of data flooded the air, thousands of voices whispering in forgotten tongues. Lights danced along the ceiling. Pillar rose in the center of the room, holograms spiraling upward, displaying ancient war records, battles fought before most races were even born. Then a loud ping. A scan beam stretched across Rinya's chest. Her eyes flashed blue. "She's sinking," the cybernetic man gasped. "Not stop her, before she bonds with the system." The large bounty hunter lunged forward, firing. Cole pushed Rinya aside and fired back, hitting the attacker in the shoulder. The bounty fell, groaning, but the cybernetic man was already running straight toward the throne, toward her. Cole moved to stop him, but it was Rinya who acted first. She raised her hand, and the light from the system shot out like a wave. The man screamed as energy wrapped around him, locking his body in place. He fell, twitching his implants. short-circuited by ancient tech far beyond his comprehension. Rinya stared at her hand, stunned. I didn't know I could do that. Cole approached slowly. You did it because you had to. She looked at the throne now glowing. Words filled the air. Old war codes, names of ships, locations of hidden weapons. But what caught her attention was a single sentence that appeared before her in blue light. Command line awaits genetic approval. Royal code. ACCPTID. She turned to Cole. They made me for this. A last hope. A failsafe. Can you control it? I think. I already am. She placed her hand on the console again, a series of coordinates projected into the air. Cole studied them. That's not on this planet. That's off-world. A hidden fleet. No, she said. Not a fleet. A forge. Where they made people like me? He swallowed. You're telling me there might be more? Maybe, she said softly. Or maybe I'm the last blueprint. Suddenly, the vault shook violently. From above, something was dropping, burrowing fast through layers of stone. Cole looked at the roof. Reinforcements. His backup must have tracked him here. Rinya looked back at the disabled bounty. They'll never stop, will they?
I know,
Cole said, helping her to her feet. But we can make sure they have nothing left to chase. She nodded. Then we burn this place and go to the next. As they ran back toward the corridor, the ancient throne began to power down. Rinya looked back just once. The voices inside the vault whispered again, this time softly, almost like a farewell. But one thing was clear now. She wasn't running anymore, and with the human at her side, she was going to fight. Asterisk, the Forge World sky was nothing like Kirith's. Where Kirith was dry, was broken, and scorched by suns. This place was cold and thick with metallic ash. Gray clouds drifted overhead like dead things. Lightning crawled across the sky in silence, flickering against the bones of long-forgotten war machines buried in the ground like fallen giants. Rinya stood at the edge of the landing ramp, wind whipping her hair and cloak. The coordinates had led them here to this uncharted moon, drifting beyond known space, according to the system's ancient memory. It was called Virellus 9, a world erased from maps, hidden like her. Cole stepped beside her, rifle slung low. Eyes narrowed as he scanned the endless field of twisted metal and half-buried towers. You sure this is the place? Rinya nodded. The forge is below, sealed, waiting. They moved cautiously. Every step over the rubble crunched like shattered glass. Machines that hadn't moved in centuries twitched in the dirt. Old defense. Turrets still humming faintly. Rinya could feel it beneath her skin, the memory of power. It wasn't just a forge. It was a vault of design, of code, of purpose. A place built to shape weapons, not ones you carried, ones you became. They reached the entrance, half buried in collapsed plating. Rinya knelt, brushing away layers of dust and metal shards. As her hand touched the surface, the hidden symbols glowed, recognizing her, accepting her. Deep tremor followed as the ground split open. Circular hatch unfolded like a blooming flower, revealing a spiral stairway leading deep underground. Cole raised an eyebrow. Let me guess. No elevator. She smirked faintly. You're the one who insisted I stop being carried. They descended together, the air growing colder with every step. Blue lights flickered on around them, as if the place was waking up after a long, deep sleep. Below, a vast chamber stretched out. Rows of suspended pods lined the walls, most cracked or empty. Strange machines blinked in the dark, then they saw it. A central pedestal glowing with the same light as her stone. On it, an orb larger than the one she carried. It pulsed with a deeper hue, as if breathing. Rinya approached, drawn by instinct. Cole stayed close, scanning the walls. This place isn't just a factory, it's a tomb, Rinya said. Softly, eyes locked on the orb. It's a nursery. She placed her stone into the pedestal. The forge responded. Walls lit up. Holograms formed mid-air, images of her kind. Tall, elegant eyes glowing with code. A voice, female and ancient, echoed through the chamber. Royal designation recognized. Last of the Ascended. Genome complete. Access granted. Suddenly, robotic limbs extended from the walls, scanning her body, projecting data streams. Rinya flinched, but Cole raised his rifle and barked, "Back off!" She touched his hand. "It's okay. They're not hostile, they're curious." And the voice returned, colder now. "Threat detected. Unrecognized genome human." Act. Blades extended from the far wall, targeting Cole. Rinya stepped in front of him, arms wide. "No, he's with me. He saved me. If I give you command, he commands too." A pause, then the lights dimmed. Command updated. Human designated as primary shield. Cole blinked. "Shield? Seriously?" She smiled. "Better than pet?" Suddenly, warning lights flashed across the chamber. An incoming vessel had entered orbit. Large, unmarked, silent. Cole checked the terminal. "That's not a bounty." "Ship. It's bigger. Cloaked signature. Probably military black ops." Rinya stared at the projected shape above them. They followed the signal. "They know I came here." Cole grabbed her shoulder. "Then we don't have much time. Whatever. You came for, take it now." She turned to the orb. As her hand touched it, the world changed. Her mind was flooded with memory. Not hers, millions of them. Blueprints, history, training routines. She saw other girls like her, designed not born, programmed, each one carrying pieces of the past, but she was the last. The final echo of an empire. When she pulled her hand away, the orb cracked. Data spilled out in a burst of light, then vanished, absorbed, locked inside her. She gasped, dropping to her knees. "It's done. I have it. All of it." Cole helped her up, "Then let's move." But before they could run, the forges. Walls shuddered. The roof began to crack. From above, piercing drills punched through the metal. Ropes dropped. Figures in matte black suits descended silent. Swift, armed Cole fired first. They returned fire with precision. Rinya ran for cover, her hands glowing with energy she barely understood. One of the attackers reached her, lunging with a blade. But the moment it touched her skin, it shattered. Her eyes went wide. She wasn't normal anymore. She was the code. Cole pulled her to the side, ducking behind a fallen panel. "There's too many. Can you shut the forge down?" Rinya looked up. "No, but I can wake it." She placed her hands on the ground, pushing her will through the systems. Machines all around them began to shift. Ancient defense units came online. Pods opened, some still holding half-formed prototypes. A low hum filled the air, and then the forge spoke again, louder this time. Protocol rebirth initiated. Protect the Ascended. As metal limbs reached for weapons and cannons unfolded from the walls, Cole looked at her in disbelief. "You're not just royal anymore," he said, breathing hard. "You're becoming their queen." She stood slowly, light trailing from her eyes. Her voice was steady now. "No, Cole. Becoming their weapon." Above them, ships began falling from the sky. Asterisk ash rained from the sky like slow drifting snow as the forge above collapsed in fire and light. Black Ops ships spiraled down, their hulls torn open by awakened weapons older than the stars. The forge had risen in her defense, and it wasn't done. Inside the ruined structure, Rinya moved, like a storm. Her bare feet barely touched the floor, her body glowing with pulses of living code. Her skin shimmered with ancient markings that hadn't been there before, etched by the forge's memory, now burned into her DNA. She wasn't just Rinya anymore. Cole stood back to back with her, rifle in one hand, short blade in the other. Blood dripped from a cut above his brow, but his eyes were locked forward. More troops were coming, descending through the holes in the ceiling like dark insects, trained, silent. Each one carried weapons designed for one purpose: capture. Not kill. They wanted her alive. "Let me guess," Cole shouted over the alarm sirens. "They don't know you're not defenseless anymore." Rinya didn't answer with words. She stepped forward, raised her hand, and the world obeyed. The walls themselves shifted. Metal tendrils shot out and wrapped around the intruders. Guns jammed, armor cracked. The ground split beneath their boots. and dragged them into containment pits that hadn't opened in centuries. Cole watched, stunned. "How are you doing that?" "I'm not," she said, eyes glowing. "The forge it's listening to me. I speak the old code now. I am the key." Suddenly, one soldier slipped past the defenses, dashed in from the side, and tackled her. Cole moved fast, firing twice, then grabbing the attacker by the collar and slamming him against a pillar. The man fell limp, but Cole was breathing hard. Rinya stood, blinking. "I still bleed," she said softly. "That's the part I can't control." Cole stepped close to her. "Good, don't forget you're alive. You're not just a machine." They moved deeper into the heart of the forge through corridors that hadn't been walked in thousands of years. Doors opened for her, lights awakened. The very walls sang with data as she passed. Then they reached the central chamber. At its core floated a structure unlike anything either of them had seen. A great sphere of transparent crystal, suspended above a swirling core of energy. Around it, curved seats hovered in silence, command chairs for rulers long turned to dust. Rinya stepped to the edge of the chamber. Her voice was quiet now, but filled with weight. "This is the heart. This is where they shaped my kind. This is where they made decisions that killed worlds." Cole glanced at the empty chairs. It looks like they didn't survive their own plans. "No," she said. "They left it all to me." She raised the stone one final time, placed it in the slot at the base of the sphere. A massive projection filled the room. Stars, battle maps, species records, military logs showed the fall of empires, the scattering of her people, the betrayal by allies, the reason they hid her. "I'm the last encoded template," she said. "If I die, the ascended race dies with me." Cole looked at her, then at the glowing core. "So, what now?" "I decide," she whispered. "I decide if I restart the Ascended or end them forever." He stepped closer, voice steady. "And what do you want, Rinya? Not what they programmed into you? What do you want?" She was quiet. Her hands trembled. "I don't know. I don't know who I am without all this." "You're the girl who stole a handful of water," he said. "You were starving, scared, and you still fought to live. Weren't royalty then? You were just you?" She looked at him, really looked. The glow in her skin softened. Her breathing steadied. Then alarms flared again. A new ship was entering orbit, different, bigger, not silent like the others. "Who now?" Cole growled, checking the terminal. His eyes widened. "Unmarked, but human tech. Looks like someone back home noticed your little licho." Rinya turned to the display. "They'll try to take me too," Cole said, "but they'll have to go through me first." Suddenly a voice rang through the chamber. Not a digital one, real, raw, angry. "Step away from the relic, human. We have orders to retrieve the asset alive. Interference will be treated as treason." The warcruiser's comm system had broken through the forge's network. They were closed now, ready to breach. Cole looked at her, eyes steady. "You have seconds. Decide. Rebuild their empire, or burn it all down." Rinya's hand hovered over the command sequence. Her heart pounded. Memories that weren't hers screamed in her head. Battles, death, glory, lies. Then she turned to him and smiled. "I'm not their queen. I'm not their weapon. I'm me." She slammed her hand down. The sphere cracked open, unleashing the wave of raw living code. Across the galaxy, old machines shut down and in orbit. The warcruiser's lights went dark. She had made her choice, but outside, soldiers still waited with blades drawn, and not all of them were ready to give up. The sky over Varellis-9 burned red as the last warcruiser powered back on, engines screaming in rage. The pulse Rinya unleashed had shut everything down, temporarily, but now systems were coming back online, angrier and more dangerous than before. Cole stood on the ramp of their ship, his rifle aimed at the horizon. Beside him, Rinya stood still, shoulders square, expression combut inside her. A storm was rising. The forge behind them was crumbling. The command crystal had shattered. After the overload, The last of the ascended systems now integrated into Rinya's living memory. She had sealed the ancient vaults, buried the blueprints, and erased all paths that could lead others back. But the war wasn't over. Dropships descended again, this time with symbols from a dozen governments. They all wanted the same thing. Not the forge, not the secrets, her. Cole lowered his rifle slightly and glanced at her. We can still run. I can get us to the far rings. No one would find you there. I'm done running, she said quietly. They never wanted the truth, just control. But now I carry it inside me, and they can't have it. He took a breath. Then what's the plan? She turned toward him, her skin still glowing faintly under the ash-filled sky. We show them something they've never seen before, and what's that? A girl who says no? The first wave landed. Soldiers poured out, armored, armed, ready for war. Cole stepped in front of her, weapon raised. They'll shoot first. They always do, she said. A commander shouted through a speaker. Turn over the girl. Final warning. Rinya stepped past Cole slowly, eyes locked on the soldiers. Her voice, when it came, was soft but carried like thunder. I am not your weapon. I am not your property. I am not your queen. I'm not your code. The soldiers hesitated. Their helmets faced her. Fingers hovered over triggers. Then she whispered something in the old language, and every weapon in the field clicked. Locks jammed. Power cells shorted. Their rifles died in their hands. Panic rippled through their ranks. I've seen what your kind does with power, Rinya said. I'm not giving it to you. One soldier, more desperate than the rest, raised a sidearm and fired. Cole moved first, but he didn't reach her in time. The shot struck her shoulder. She stumbled back, pain flashing across her face, but she didn't fall. Instead, she stood straighter. The soldiers watched in stunned silence as the wound glowed and closed. Not because she was immortal, because she chose to stay standing. And then something happened no one expected. She dropped the glowing stone, the last trace of the ascended legacy, into the dirt and crushed it beneath her heel. The light burst, faded, and was gone. I'm not your future, she said. You are. She turned, blood trailing faintly down her arm, and walked back toward Cole. Behind them, the soldiers didn't move. Their guns were useless, their mission broken. No one gave the order to fire again. She climbed aboard the ship, her legs shaking. Only slightly now. Cole was waiting in the cockpit, powering the engines. You sure? He asked. She nodded. Let them rebuild without me. I've got my own life to live now. He gave her a small smile. Where to? She looked out at the stars. So many of them. All finally open to her. I don't care where. Just somewhere no one knows my name. He nodded and took her hand, guiding her gently into the seat beside him. The ship rose. The planet shrank. And for the first time, Rinya didn't feel like something built, or hunted, or shaped. She just felt free as they slipped into the stars. The universe whispered around her, and she whispered back, I'm not the last of anything. I'm the beginning of me.